Hi there. So I have something on my mind. I'm going to call this a little bit of a kindness rant because I just feel like there's something around this that needs to be said. So one thing I'm noticing, I've been noticing this really for years, but it's been coming up a little bit in my personal sphere in the past week or two. So I felt like it needed to I needed to say something about it. I had some feelings about it. So I've been making this observation that sometimes when people come in and they are making a purchase or they're looking around or they have a question and they want to start a conversation about their spiritual practice or their belief system or what they're into, how they identify themselves spiritually, which can be a part of their personality. When they want to start a conversation about that, there's a tendency to say, when we're talking about what we are and what we do believe, there's also this, I find there's a tendency to say what we don't believe. And sometimes those conversations can sort of very naturally veer into the territory of talking about other groups that hold beliefs or use practices that we either don't like, we don't care for, they don't work for us, we don't believe in that. And it can also cross over into the territory of sort of making fun or poking fun. This happens just so much. I'm not really sure why we have this tendency to go there. Not everybody does, but a lot of people do. And I am also guilty of this at times, like I said in a previous video, I have a tendency when I talk about what I am and what I do, sometimes I find myself talking about what I don't do first. And so why is that? That's very interesting. But I think it needs to be addressed and we need to think about it because we don't really always know who's in the room with us, or if we are talking with a new friend, we don't know what their personal experience or their beliefs are. And so it's a good idea to be really careful about putting down other groups with other belief systems or other systems of practice. I held a very deep belief that there are many paths that lead up the mountain. That means to the same goal, really. To the point where I actually, in my meditation space, I have a print of that Hilma af Klint painting. I think it's called Altarpiece number. I can't remember what, but it's like this pyramid shape, right? And it has, you can find this online pretty easily. And it has all these sort of paths going up it that are different colors, and they're kind of a gradation of the color as they move up and they mingle with other colors. And it illustrates for me so well this principle, right? So at the top of the pyramid, there's this big solar array. And all the paths kind of come to that point at that solar array. Which, that's a big symbol. It could mean God, super consciousness, like whatever you're into, right? All kind of going toward that same goal. I love that painting because I can see in that painting all of these sort of, because of the line work, that some paths sort of meander and some of them move a little more straight. Some of them move by steps, and that's, life and personality and personal spirituality. We all have our own path up that mountain. And unless we are trying on another practice with honesty and openness, like open-mindedness, and like really working that path for a time, it's really hard to know what is the, whether your path is better than another person's path. It's fine. The important thing is what you're doing is right for you, right? And there's, I think I've been thinking about this because recently I've been noticing, so I follow a lot of esoteric practitioners and personalities, people who've written books, people who have podcasts, people who have member sites, and I belong to a number of them and followed a number of them, and I've been noticing this tendency there. And I just wonder, how useful is it to us to put others down for the work that they're trying to do, right? How can we really know whether it works or not? We just know what works for us. We can only speak about what we ourselves are doing. Is it really useful to speak badly about another group's beliefs or practices, to demonstrate that to other people, to teach other people to hold that group in some level of contempt, to make fun of the symbols or the practices of other groups? I mean, that's a big one for me, because I actually, my personal spiritual practice involves symbols that some other individuals like to make fun of. And, you know, I don't take it very personally, but it bothers me just a little bit, because I am walking my path very earnestly, and I do a lot of work on myself as part of my path. And those symbols have personal meaning to me. They are marker posts along my path. And so to see someone, you know, degrade them to some degree, to make fun of them, or to be diminishing of them, is a little bothersome. So I want to be careful that I don't do that to other people, because I've personally been affected by that. What if we chose, like, what if our approach to people of other spirituality was to listen, to get to know them, to listen with an open mind, and when we hear something that we don't like, maybe what we're really hearing is what's not for us, and maybe we need to address that. It brings up some stuff for us, like maybe it makes us question whether what we're doing is the right thing, or whether it's true, whether it's useful, whether it's practical, whether it's effective. And if we're feeling some insecurity in those areas and putting others down out of that insecurity, perhaps it would be better to sort of dial in and look into that path, or explore a little bit more, and, like, you know, broaden our study, so that we could have a better position from which to make a choice about what we believe and what we do, and how we express our spirituality, which for many of us becomes a big part of our personality and our happiness, the way that we celebrate joy. So I just wanted to put that out there. I've noticed that this happens a lot, and I'm not trying to put anyone down. I am also guilty of this. I'm really making a concerted effort to avoid making flippant remarks or joking about other people's spiritual practices and symbols and groups, you know. And I have an understanding that when people join a church, or an order, or a coven, or a social group, they're doing it because, you know, we do this because we are looking for shared language. We're looking for a way to communicate with others with a shared understanding and a shared language that makes this sort of path less lonely, because that's what it can be at times. And so, if a group's work, if the good work that a particular group is doing serves that community, that is awesome. That is something to be celebrated. If a group has different beliefs than mine and it's not for me, I can say, you know what? You look happy. That's great. I'm happy for you. I'm going to just continue, like, I'm just doing this thing over here, and I'm just going to continue to do that. But I celebrate you for finding what works for you. That is awesome. I really mean that. Just something to think about, just a perspective there. So, yep, that's it. There's my kindness rant. So if you have any thoughts about this, go ahead and put them in the comments, or email me at shop@starandsplendor.com, all written out, the word starandsplendor.com. And yeah, let me know what you think. So anyway, I hope you're having a great day. Bye.